Hey guys, great story to share with you today. And I'm outside today, so if you hear any cars or loud birds, I apologize. This was a super inspiring story out of Montana where Amish and non-Amish people got together to help a man in need. And what did? They moved a garage by hand. About 140, 150 people came together to do this. And this was not the first time that Amish have done this. Actually, they have a pretty long history of this, which I'm going to tell you about and show you more of in a minute. This is out of Park City, Montana. In brief, a man named Mike Kinsey lost his home in 2022 when the Yellowstone River flooded. You can see that in this really striking video clip where the river just takes it away. Now, Mike had built this home himself by hand way back in 1977. After this catastrophe, he really wanted to stay on the river, stay in his home area, but had been struggling to do so. Was living in a mobile home while he tried to rebuild, but he still had his garage. So enter Nelson Troyer, a local Amish man. And this is from KTVQ Q2 Montana Billings News. By chance, Mike met Nelson, who was working on a nearby job, told him about his garage and basically said he wanted to tear it down and get it off the floodplain. And Nelson, being the typical Amishman, I guess, that he is, said, "There's no way in my mind that I can tear down that nice building." So rather than do that, he decided to organize people in order to move this building. And Amish have done this in other cases. I'm going to share a couple video clips of that in a second. Now, the Amish have been living in Montana for around 50 years now, and their population has been steadily growing, but there's still not like a ton of Amish out there. And Nelson's community is not a huge one. So apparently he got about 70 Amish people together and put out the call for around 70 more non-Amish people. And in the end, they had apparently over 100 people get together to do this job. They just did this on Saturday. You can see in this clip the barn getting moved. Pretty amazing. Apparently, each person has to carry about 90 pounds worth of weight. That was Nelson's calculation. And in the end, they got it done. Kinsey had a really emotional thank you to everyone at the end. And he's got a great chance to sort of restart with one of his buildings, completely intact and out of the way of the river. So great story here. And a big thumbs up to everyone who came out to help. It's pretty awesome. Kinsey said, "It's hard to express, just gratitude, overwhelming gratitude. I couldn't be more thankful." Like I mentioned, this isn't the first time Amish have done this. In fact, you'll see this type of a story usually once or twice a year at least. I'll share a couple of the more memorable ones with you. This is one from Hillsboro, Wisconsin, where you had a bunch of Amish get together to move this red pole barn. How many are there? They didn't give the number. I would guess in the 150 to 200 person range. Other sources suggested there's close to 300. This is a bigger building than Mike Kinsey's garage. As you can see, you just see the feet moving along and this giant building moving down and they actually had to move over like down an incline. I mean, this is a much further move in this case. Kind of amazing. And of course, they got it done and everyone got out in one piece. And as you can see here, there's one man in front kind of directing the group on what to do. So you have to have one person in charge there so people know which way to go, which way to turn, when to stop, set it down, give it a rest, and so on. So that's just awesome. Probably my favorite video of this was one that came out a couple of years ago. This was in New York. A non-Amish man named Bill Lyons actually filmed inside of the barn while it was being moved. And simultaneously, we had an outside view that he spliced onto the video there. So just really cool. You can really see everybody. I mean, it seems like people are having a lot of fun. This was in Steuben County, New York. In this case, someone had an old building that they were going to demolish. Then a neighbor was going to build a new leather harness shop. And rather than build a new one, he just decided to buy this nearby building and just move it over. Mike estimated there were about 140 to 150 people here, and they were lifting between 50 to 75 pounds. So it sounds like a little bit lighter lift than Mike Kinsey's garage in Montana. So just two takeaways that stuck with me from this story and other Amish building move stories. One would be waste not, want not. I mean, Nelson Troyer said there's no way we can tear down that building, perfectly usable building, when we can just move it. So that really fits in with what I guess you would call typical Amish values. And the second thing is just this idea of getting a community together to accomplish a common goal. Kinsey said that he couldn't afford to pay people to do this. He was kind of shocked at the idea of moving it because he just didn't have the cash to do that. Nelson said something like, well, you can just give us some cookies. So they didn't ask for payment really. And that's pretty typical in these cases where you have the Amish community getting together to help out with something like this. So I think it's just awesome. I mean, this was also kind of cool because most of these building move stories, it's usually involves just Amish people because they've usually got enough Amish people around to do that. But, this is out in Montana. The communities are a little bit smaller. They're a little bit fewer and farther between. So Nelson brought in a lot of the local non-Amish people as well. So you had a cool example of cooperation here. Which is just great. So really curious to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments. Maybe you know of other examples of these types of stories. Anyway, just want to leave you with a positive story. Hope you enjoy that. By the way, if you want to get additional content, I want to encourage you to check out the Amish America Patreon page. We've got some cool interviews with Amish people. We're going to have some more coming up. So if you want to hear directly from the Amish on Amish beliefs, Amish culture. We've got interviews with Ben Reel and Marlene Lehman. Marlene and I actually discussed we're going to be doing another one of those here, I think later this month. So check that out. We've had some people join that already, and I think it's been really fun to do. And if you like longer content, longer interviews, we're definitely posting some of those there along with some other bonus content. So thanks a lot. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll talk to you next time.